Hello!
Oh, we're on.
We're back!
Yes, we're back from the 2 week.
Man, does it feel good. It was weird, man. It's me, it's Grant, again.
Yeah, that's
I'm here.
Grant. I'm Jake. Hello. We are starting a cult here on the podcast.
Currently speaking, I survived the COVID-19.
You did remarkably well. You did really well with it.
As a matter of fact, in my instance, it really was nothing more than just a minor inconvenience in my day-to-day.
Sounds like you got the diet COVID, but...
Oh, I did. It was nothing.
You know, it's you luck of the draw, man. You got the genes for it.
But yeah, so we are back. I'm no longer a contagious man. Well, I don't know COVID, but no, I have nothing to spread other than love and joy.
And
it's no longer deadly. So we're back, and honestly, it worked out.
Love and joy is no longer deadly.
It's funny that this worked out this way because this was, I don't even remember. This is a couple weeks ago. I think it was like the Halloween episode.
What?
We were doing like spooky stuff, and you texted me and you're like, I did all this research, and I realized it's not that spooky. So we were like, well, we'll just sit on it, right?
Yeah, we'll just have it on the back burner. Dude, it's like the longest script I've written thus far.
I love it.
And I got to the end of it, and I was like, this isn't Halloween-y at all. It's not scary. It's just kind of
it's just
kind of interesting, I guess. But yeah, so it is the lost colony of Roanoke. There we go.
And it worked out perfectly because we disappeared for 2 weeks, and then what better way to resurface than to talk about disappearances?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And
I understand you have a story about something in Michigan going missing.
Yeah, I have a totally separate disappearance story. It's a real simple story. There's not much to it. It's just more a little lighthearted. But we're here. We're bringing to you disappearances of... what do you call these? Like mass disappearances?
Large groups of people just gone.
It's like a mass extinction with no proof of them actually dying.
Yeah, they're probably still around, just doing other stuff.
But yeah, so it's perfect. It's perfect. We're here. We're going to do it.
Yeah. So sorry for being gone for a while. In the future, we're going to be like recording some things just for situations of this. We'll have you guys covered.
Oh,
we're getting our insurance purposes going on.
And we got the patrons to thank. I forgot about that.
Holy shit.
Again, I'm not entirely sure because I don't personally know these individuals, so I have not asked. But I'm just going to say first names because you know what? You deserve it. You're giving us money. I'm going to say it.
I know them, but I also don't know their comfortability with mentioning their names.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
So we have Tracy. I'd like to thank you personally. You were the first one on the docket, so that was a back.
It's very true.
Backlog.
Hi, Tracy.
Hello and thank you. And then we have Kate, I believe.
Hi, Kate.
And that was extreme. That was honestly, those two kind of went hand in hand. It was weird. It happened. Boom, boom. 1-2 punch. It was like
boom, boom. It was planned.
Ooh,
maybe it was like
this.
It was a plan.
And I really liked it because the picture on the Patreon profile was the head in a jar from Futurama.
Damn right.
So,
which one was it? Was it Beck?
No, it was hers. It was like her own avatar.
Oh my god!
I imagine it was really cool. I like that. I'm a Futurama fan, so
Didn't
that went a long way. Then we have Roman. Honestly, this is a new one for us because as far as right now, unless this is if this real name was used on the Patreon, it is the first person we do not personally know.
No idea who you are, but thanks.
And
thank you for being here. It's great that you're to have you.
No, that is amazing. So Roman, thank you. And then this one, I'm going to say the full name. I'm sorry. I'm 100% certain this is a fake name.
No, it has to be.
But Joe Schmo, we've actually received an email from you before, and I appreciated the email, and then here we are.
Reaching out, expressing interest. It was good.
Here we are, Patreon rocking. So Joe Schmo, you reach out again, man, because you've been around.
I don't know why you need the alias, but I'm not going to question it.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
You.
I'm cool with it.
You're a good person.
Joe Schmo, thank you. If that really is your name, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. I truly just assumed that Joe Schmo was a fake name.
If it's real, that just makes it even better.
But
that really just makes the situation good.
Yeah, those are our new patrons. So thank you all very, very, very much Mucho apreciado.
It's true. And on that same note, just us being gone and stuff, we are going to be getting back onto the Patreon episodes as well. Those will be coming at you
next
bi-monthly,
week.
as they always have. So
We'll
look
be
forward
back.
to that. New stuff. There's a link below for the Patreon if you're not part of it yet. But still, let's get on
Very true.
the
All right.
disappearing places.
Yeah, let's move in. We covered our bases here. Let's move into Roanoke, shall we?
Yeah. Oh, we're doing mine first.
Yeah, mine honestly is going to be about 4 minutes. So
Oh,
it's
all
it's
right.
more of a topper at the end. It's really small.
There's some sprinkles for Roanoke.
Yeah, it's just a little happiness.
All right. So here we go. All right, the lost colony of Roanoke, right? In 18... no. Already fucked up. See, I have performance anxiety. We
Rewind.
haven't been doing this for
Rewind.
too long. In 1584.
There it is.
There it is. 2 ships sailed across the Atlantic to find a suitable place for the first English colony in America.
I thought you said 2 shits rolled by at first, and I
I
was like,
very
that's
well
hilarious.
may have. I'm just screwing up all over it.
No, you didn't. That was just it's like 2 shits. I was thinking of like a communal toilet with multiple. It's not the point
It's
what I
like,
was thinking.
what's the thing about Roanoke? Oh, you don't give 2 shits.
But here's
Oh,
the thing
yes.
I do. I want the deets. I
There's
want
so
the
many more
juicy
sentences
deets.
after that first one. All right, so by mid-July, the 2 ships reached the Outer Banks, which is a group of barrier islands along the east coast of North America, right? Some people
Represent.
might know about those. I didn't. I learned about them just now. The travelers met the native people and were friendly with them, right? That's good. The Native Americans invited the travelers to their village on Roanoke Island.
It's just a cool name, Roanoke. Like, I don't know. There's something about that. It's got anything with that oak in it that isn't related to the tree or the type of wood. It's very different because you don't hear that like oak,
Yeah.
okra. Even that, it's like, ooh, that's a cool word. You know?
It says like sonic pleasure. It's like the word lacquer.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
for like wood
ooh.
finish. It's like, ooh, yeah.
You don't even need.
That
you
is
could
that
say,
is some top shelf.
You could
vocabulary,
say, I'm gonna
like-
polish some wood, but with what? With lacquer, not polish. You know, that's the thing.
Ooh, lacquer. It's like a firecracker of a word.
That's how I feel about Roanoke. It's mostly the oak part of that. And like rowing oaks.
It just rolls.
It kind of sounds
And
like
oaks.
a retirement home. Rowing oaks or rolling oaks. If you like, I don't know if you hyperbolized a little bit more with it.
You know what? Roanoke, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And it's for that I love it. So the Native Americans invited the travelers to Roanoke Island. Fantastic, right? After about a month, the 2 ships were boarded once more, and they headed back to England, right? Because this was just like a scouting mission. They're just like, let's go see if we find a cool place. Nice place to hold up.
Hey, they found it, man. Well, it's not really a tropical island, but it's an
It's
island
just the
nonetheless.
east coast of America.
It is funny. We don't really have a special name for them. It's like, ooh, the tropical islands out south or out west. What about islands? Yeah, like up east. It's like those are just fucking islands.
Those are just accidents.
We don't have anything else to say. It's land that's not big enough to be land. Okay.
It's surrounded by the terrifying ocean. Upon returning to England, that is, the man in charge, Walter Raleigh, had made his mind up to create a settlement somewhere in the area from which they had just come, right? So he's like, all right, that place was cool. I liked it there. He was also then knighted by Queen Elizabeth I, and the new land was to be named Virginia in honor of the Virgin Queen.
That makes sense.
Right?
Okay, I get that.
So it's coming all together. The next year, in 1585, 7 ships departed from England with 600 men and enough provisions for about a year.
God, just that is a cramped. I mean, these are not cruise ship sized boats, okay? And you're cramming more than 100. Well, maybe a little bit less than 100 people per boat. That is not a fun journey.
I wouldn't imagine.
It's
No.
not fun.
No. However, when they reached the outer banks of their destination, they saw that navigating the island waters was a bit more difficult than they had experienced the first time, right? When one of the ships attempted to sail through one of the many inlets, the bottom of the ship scraped a shoal. There's another word I learned. I had no idea what a shoal was.
Let me take a guess. Because I'm actually not going to lie to you. I don't know what that is, so let me assume here.
I'm not sure I remember either, but I think I might.
I'm picturing a shawl is some type of
A shoal.
it's a
A
shawl.
shawl
Sorry.
is like,
Yeah, it's like
isn't
a
that
coat
like a
blanket.
drapery for the head or
Uh,
something?
so a shawl. I'm thinking it's some type of root-like system in the water that perhaps similar to that of algae that can get entangled in the rudders. I'm probably super incorrect in that, but that's my assumption.
It's something in the water. You got that part.
Okay, all right. I got about 10% of the definition.
Yeah, a couple of those words are in there. I'm pretty sure it is just like the land coming up from the ocean floor that makes up the top of the island. But it's
I
like,
was
like it goes down and it goes out. So you're just like, oh, I can't see it. I'm going close to the island. Getting so shallow here.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking in the right direction, but I was thinking too generic. I wasn't getting specific.
I do like the idea of algae just like grabbing a boat.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess it really wasn't that big of a problem back then because they didn't have motors.
Yeah, I
so
heard you mention rudders. I was like, I'll just let that go.
They had to have. I imagine they could still get stuck on something, but I guess maybe not as often.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be more like sandbars that you'd have to worry about than anything else.
Yeah. Or
shoals.
shoals.
Yeah,
Or shoals.
absolutely.
There you go. Not Dr. Shoals, not to be mistaken. But all right, so the ship scraped a shoal and was nearly sunk. The boat did not end up sinking, but that particular boat was carrying the lion's share of the food and supplies that was now ruined and or contaminated by the seawater.
Ugh.
This caused the scope of the colony to reduce drastically.
Oh, so is that a nice way of saying a lot of people died?
Basically,
It reduced the scope of the people. No, well, it was just death. It was death, is what you're saying.
dude, you imagine living back then, any minor inconvenience, it's like, oh, that's like 20% of all of us that are going to die.
It's like,
It's like, God damn it, he stubbed his toe, just leave him.
the corn
gonna
isn't
swell, he's
growing
gonna-
right. My kids are gonna die. Guess I'll just start fresh next year. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Oregon Trail sort of thing. Let's see, where are we going? Yeah, so about 100 men, far less than originally planned, were to be stationed at Roanoke Island, and they were. Who then, with the native people's permission, began constructing the colony of Roanoke.
Nice.
All right, so things are moving. We're cooking. This particular location was chosen for its strategic positioning. See, there was
Strategic.
there was easy access to the ocean, right? But the barrier islands on the outer banks made the colony like invisible to Spanish patrol ships, because basically these islands are just long, pencil-like islands that like block the real land. So there's just a bunch of them layered, and they're just like, let's go back a little bit.
It's like, let's try this one. Let's back it up an inch.
Yeah. So, they're invisible to Spanish patrol. There was a scheduled delivery of more supplies for the colonists before that winter, but unbeknownst to them, the Queen had canceled the expedition due to what she felt were more pressing matters to deal with back in England. What exactly those are, maybe we'll find out later.
I think we will.
Perhaps.
I have an idea we will. I mean, I guess I don't know entirely.
I mean, yeah, who knows anything this year, you know. So when the provisions did not arrive, right, the colonists had to rely on the generosity of the Native Americans. See, this kind of would have been perfect for Thanksgiving, but we kind of blew past that too.
Yeah, it all came so quickly. You know, it's just
It all just happened so fast.
take it as it comes. Okay, don't be upset.
Yeah. So, the natives were glad to assist them, but only had so much food and supplies for themselves, right? That's just how it works. It's like we only plan to feed ourselves. So, and as winter set in, and the colonists needed more and more assistance and all that, so too, the tension was starting to grow between the two groups, right?
All right.
And there was also a trend that was beginning to become clear to the natives. Each time the colonists would go and visit the tribe members of that, anytime they would go like visit a different tribe, right? Members of that tribe would become violently ill and die within days. So that sucks. You could cut the tension with a knife, right? Eventually, the two leaders of the groups, Colonel Governor Ralph Lane and Indian Chief Wingina, Wingina.
Uh,
It's just wing and then INA.
shit, I don't know. Wingina?
I feel like it's not that.
I like to think it is. It makes me happy, okay?
Just okay. All right. Well,
That's what I want for Christmas this year. I want her name to be Wingina.
I think it's a guy too. It's
Damn it!
it's all right. All right. So Chief W, it became they
Chief
became
Wiggum.
yeah. So Governor Ralph Lane and Chief Wiggum became so suspicious of one another that cohabitation was no longer an option. Right. So Wingina, I'm going to call him that. Wingina decided to remove his people from the Roanoke Island. Right. So Lane did not trust this move, believing that Wingina had formed an alliance with a neighboring tribe and were planning to launch an attack on the colony, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Very-
some shit. You don't fuck with that. This is like organized crime circa 1500. You don't fuck with these people.
No,
like you don't do backhanded deals with anyone. They'll
You know,
get
man,
you
you don't
killed.
fuck with anyone. It's a universal thing. It's like, just don't fuck with people, all right? Don't do it. Lane, he didn't trust it. And whether it was true or not, Lane and the colonists began taking preemptive measures, all right? So they're getting ready for something.
They're getting ready for the all-out war that comes with the free raffle of a new iPod. That's actually nothing they're looking forward to.
No, that's exactly what happened on June 1st of 1586.
Realistically, they're
Yeah.
looking forward to not dying of anything. But, that doesn't happen.
Oh, God. Looking forward to not dying. I'm just thinking about that now.
Yeah, it's what a lot of people do, but I'll tell you this. It's not going to get you anywhere because you're all going to die.
Yeah, the more time you spend doing that, the less time you have to not die.
Let it be known here first, all right? If no one told you this in your life, get ready. You,
Santa's not...
person listening to this episode, will die one day. I don't know how, when, or why, but it will happen. I'm sorry, I didn't want to break that news to you, but it's going to happen.
Okay, so one Englishman chased down and decapitated Wingina.
They make it seem
Because
like that sentence makes it seem so simple. But
yeah.
just the act of a man chasing another man to decapitate him. Think of all the work that goes into that. That is insane.
God. Oh my God. Well, so it wasn't just one guy going and doing this. Lane and his men made their way to the mainland village and massacred all its people, the men, women, and children.
Now that sounds like the English.
See, that's
I
the
know.
English way. Sadly. So one Englishman, like I said, he chased down and decapitated Wingina, whose head was later impaled outside of a fort constructed in Roanoke. That's probably just a warning of some sort.
Ooh.
So a week after this, a large English fleet stopped by the Outer Banks on its way back to England. And given the lack of food and poor relations with the natives, it was decided that the colony was to be abandoned. And all the colonists were to return to England after only 9 months there.
Damn. I guess when you think of, on a grand scale, that's not long, but when you're living life, in 1500, 9 months is quite a while.
That's a big chunk of your life there.
You gotta, and especially when you take into account what was the travel time. It's probably 6 months round trip minimum.
It might be.
Minimum.
That sounds just awful.
Like that is a long ass time. Yeah, relatively speaking, now it's not. But come on, give me a break. These guys, they didn't have penicillin. They didn't have anything.
No one had discovered that yet. Some people need that. Some people need penicillin. Do you understand, Grant?
I'm
Do
aware.
you get it?
I
Don't you
am
understand?
aware. I've never needed it, as far as I'm aware. But actually, I don't even really know what it does entirely, so I'm not even going to get into it. But people need it. I do know that.
Yeah, we're a pro penicillin podcast.
They need pencil cases and penicillin. That's all they need.
That's all you need in life. So the friggin' colony was going to be abandoned after only 9 months. However, 3 individuals did not end up being taken back to England. They were unable to be located and were never seen again. So that's just a little thing. So the whole expedition was a failure, right? The colony was abandoned. Native relations were ruined. The colonists never even they didn't find any of the rumored deposits of gold that everyone was talking about over there. So despite this failure, however, a man named John White had the urge to return. White was a painter whose relation to the discovery of Roanoke is a bit ambiguous, but it is thought that he may have been part of the first, he may have been at least one of the 2 English voyages that were there at different points,
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? He knew about it, though, and he wanted to go back. And his idea was
he's just a painter, and he's like, we
like,
need to go back.
Yeah, let's go back to that place. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think
it's pretty cool.
The job isn't done there, guys. We need to go. Like, just a painter. Can you imagine? Did they respect painters back then enough to, listen? Or was it just like, oh, there goes John again talking about that crazy village he wants to go back to?
I feel like unless you're like a caricature artist for the royalty, you weren't respected in England.
Probably not.
Probably
yeah,
not.
Probably not.
But his idea was to form a colony less as a military occupation and more as a village with women and children, including his own pregnant daughter. So,
oh, he just wanted a place to put her, is what he wanted. I mean,
maybe. Some stuff that might be supported later.
Beating around the bush. This guy's just like, I gotta hide my daughter. She's pregnant. No one can know. I gotta put her somewhere. We need the colony back.
It's like back in the day when, in a private Catholic school, they get pregnant. They're like, "Are you going to go live in New Hampshire for a year with your aunt?"
Ashley and Jessica and Mary, and as a matter of fact, every woman in this school is going to live with their rich aunt out west for about a year. Then they'll all be back.
It's like, yeah, we'll just say the kid's mine. Don't worry, honey. Oh, that sucks. All right. What was this? His idea, all this stuff, pregnant daughter. White convinced Raleigh and others to make this second attempt in late spring of 1587, when 3 ships set sail for their new home in Roanoke, governed by John White himself.
Ooh.
He was the governor now. He's moving on up from a painter to governor.
Damn, that is quite the promotion. I'm not going to lie to you.
Go.
That is quite the jump.
But so after the original group of colonists who had massacred the native village had left Roanoke, there were a few fleets of English ships that had stopped by the islands to see its progress and deliver food and supplies, just checking in to see how it's going. One of these fleets, upon seeing the colony abandoned, right? So it was just gone. They decided to leave 15 men behind to look after the location. White knew about these men right before they left. They were just like, all right, it was abandoned. Some people came by. They saw it was abandoned. They left some people there. We should be meeting them there when we get there, right?
Yeah, okay.
This is John White. However, once the 3 ships unloaded all of the colonists onto the island, once they got there, they had to look around, and there was no sign of anyone, right? 15 men just gone. Instead of White, he discovered a pile of bones believed to belong to one of the now missing men.
Damn.
So there's just a pile of bones where these people should be.
It's like,
kind of a,
what happened to the skin, boss?
I think we're meant to be led in a direction here. So White suspected the native population to be responsible for this, right? So after only a few days...
No, you know it's not them. I'm sorry to interrupt. You know it's not them. They use every part of the animal. They wouldn't leave the bones.
Well, maybe they use the bones
as a symbol.
Yeah.
It was like a Joker card, like how the...
It's the genie's wish of using every part of the body.
Like the cat burglar.
I'll do it in a stupid way.
Like the cat burglars, they leave like a half-smoked cigarette or like
something like that.
Like a calling card. This was there, so just like leave the body, leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Let's just waste this guy. All right, 50 men are gone. 3 ships. White suspected the native people. After only a few days on the island, a colonist named George Howe.
How, you say?
How
you
he was
say?
attacked,
What?
but how was he attacked? No, Howe was attacked by Native Americans. He was pierced with 16 arrows.
Holy shit!
And bludgeoned with a piece of wood.
Oh, the bludgeoning seems like overkill.
Oh yeah, dude, caving in his skull. He had a caved-in skull with 16 fucking piercings.
Damn, that is brutal. I love that shit.
So, This was a message.
He had it coming.
It was a message that the English were no longer welcome on Roanoke, right? We don't want you here, says the native people. But the colony was not without its ally. So during the first scouting mission to Roanoke, so at the very beginning, the first one where they were like, let's go try to find a cool place to set up shop, right? So during the first scouting mission to Roanoke, the explorers befriended and took 2 Native Americans back to England with them, named Wancheesy, or Wancheese.
Want cheese? Yes.
Wancheesy. And,
one cheesy, one no cheesy. That'd be
yeah,
great.
yes,
They're brothers.
The burger order.
They're brothers.
Yeah. So
and then the youngest brother, he was adopted. No onion. That was is a little bit more on the nose.
And there was another one named Manteo. All right. So one cheesy and Manteo.
We got one cheesy, one Manteo. What's your order?
No Manteos.
Oh, these are children, you say? Oh my goodness.
Oh, good Lord. What kind of restaurant is this? So Wancheesy was returned. He returned to North America, right? He returned with nothing but disgust and disdain for the English culture, basically, because what they did, they took him, right? They took him back to England to get a feel for the culture. He did it with Manteo too, but so Wancheesy hated it. He just hated everything they had to do going on, and friggin' they're foreign invaders. So says Wancheesy. While Mateo, he was very friendly and curious with the culture. And after finding a pile of bones on Roanoke, White consulted the Croatoan tribe, who confirmed that they were held with disdain on Roanoke, and the attack on the 15 men that were stationed there was spearheaded by none other than Wancheesy. Wancheesy's like fucking shit up.
Not the cheesy one.
Yeah, the Croatoan, by the way, Manteo was a part of that tribe. So that was their allies on Roanoke, or in the general area.
Extra pickle.
It doesn't even... Hold the cheese, hold the lettuce. So what do we got? The ships. The ships the colony had sailed in on remained anchored outside of the Outer Banks.
I thought they're gone too. Like, what the
They're
fuck?
fucking gone. They're gone.
This is the most backwards game of Clue I've ever played. I don't even know where to start.
So, all right, so the ships the colony sailed in on, they're still there. They're in the Outer Banks for the first month or so, and they were planning to return to England, right? So anxieties grew throughout the colony regarding not only the outside threat of Native American attacks, but the food supplies, right? They're running out. The colonists urged John White to return to England with the ship's crew to get them more supplies for the coming winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So White was hesitant to leave for many reasons, but none more pressing than the fact that his daughter had just given birth to her daughter, Virginia. Right?
Nice.
Yeah, we got Virginia in the New World.
Virginia.
Yeah. You know what? It might be. It honestly
today.
Might be.
It's guys, you got to cut me some slack out there. This is the post-COVID mental breakdowns over. Like, I'm free.
Grant doesn't know how to be around people anymore.
I have socialization back in my life. Like, I was out to dinner the other day. Like, what the fuck?
Shit.
It's all backwards. It's crazy. So I'm firing on a couple different cylinders.
No,
so
I
you
understand. Dude,
give me some time.
Since we didn't do it for 2 weeks, I think me talking right now, even only at this point in the podcast, is the most I've talked since we did our last episode.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
I don't speak very much.
I've really been just playing Secret Neighbor with Georgie.
Yeah, dude, that game is awesome.
And and the other Matt too. We the three of us, we've been playing Secret Neighbor. It's so stupidly good.
I've gotten in on some of those. It is a good game.
Yeah, you were the neighbor, and you were killing people. You killed.
That's what you do when you're the neighbor. You kill people.
Yeah, you did. You got my ass good too. That's irrelevant though.
Bitch.
Anyways, Secret Neighbor. Let me tell you a little bit about the lore of Secret Neighbor. It really kind of all ties back into Roanoke here. It doesn't.
Oh,
but
yeah, I was gonna. You gonna do it?
No, no.
No,
No.
no, ridiculous.
Don't be insane.
Ridiculous. All these cylinders being fired on.
No, that game is a little bit more closely related to the Franklin cover-up series, I would imagine, than
Yeah,
Roanoke.
he's just taking kids.
Yeah, it's really just about a creepy mustached old man that has to hunt down children. For some reason, the children are not trying to escape the basement. They're trying to get into the basement
Yeah,
of
you
the
gotta
house.
get key cards and watch gears and stuff, put stuff together.
It's really strange, but
All
yeah,
the while,
it's got some rapey undertones
trying to
to
kill
it.
you.
Roanoke, not so much. We'll go back to that now. That was a
Yeah.
nice secret neighbor plug. I'm not even getting paid by these people, okay?
Odds are we're on it. Just there's not many people on that server. Just go on and play. You'll probably be in a game with us.
Hell yeah, if you fire that up, look for a handicap peach. That's me. You'll find
and
me.
look for that'll happen.
And you'll be like,
me.
I know these guys, and we're going to totally fuck you up if we're the neighbor.
Oh, it's true. We're gonna kill you. But you're gonna die? No, that's not what you want. Same thing. John White thought about his daughter and his grandchild. Now, right? Was that a good segue?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good segue back into it?
It does. The
Virginia's
cheese man.
here.
It's not the cheese man, but it's getting there.
No, yes, of course. But he was eventually persuaded in the late August of 1587 to go back, right? So White set sail back to England for the provisions that they so desperately needed. So when White returned to England, he was met with a country at war. So this was the reason they didn't really have any provisions going on. The country's at war. The Queen had banned any English ships to leave the country until the threat of Spanish invasion had passed. And you know what? White, despite his best diplomatic efforts, he was unable to leave England for 3 years.
Damn.
So he just left this colony saying he was like, yeah, I'm going to run to the store. And he just never returned like a deadbeat dad.
Yeah, he went to get a pack of smokes and never came back.
Yeah, corner store. England at war. Either way, so it wasn't until 1590, with the help of Walter Raleigh, that White was able to book a convoy for passage to America. So coming back after 3 years, upon arriving at the Outer Banks, there appeared to be plumes of smoke emanating from the island. Never a good sign unless it's a campfire. That's fun. Nourishing. So, 2 small boats were quickly dispatched to investigate the ships, and the ships fired their cannons, right, to make their presence known. I guess that's an etiquette thing. The crew witnessed a great fire in the distance, according to the reports, and once ashore, they made their way from the east shore to the west, which was not that big of a trek. Like I said, these are very thin islands. Right, so they went from the east shore to the west, where they discovered a fresh set of footprints. Who these footprints belong to, maybe. The crew then made their way north, where they discovered a tree with the letters CRO carved into its trunk.
CRO.
What could that mean?
Okay, this is where is my time to shine.
CRO, this is
crocodile rodent ointment.
Okay.
Carefree, ridiculous ostrich. Chopping relative orphans.
Oh my god.
Coagulated red penis.
That's not. There's no P.
Coagulated red
orifice, maybe.
Octopus.
Octopus.
Let me keep it going. Cock rod. Cock rod outside. No, that one doesn't work.
Outside.
Children are outrageous.
Using text lingo with the R.
All right. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so that was carved into a trunk, right? Trunk of a tree.
Oh, it was carved. Carving.
This changes the whole thing.
It does. Carving
CRO.
really oblong. That might be what it means.
Okay, so when they came to the entrance of the colony, after they saw this, they discovered a second, more complete inscription. What do you think it said? This said Croatoan.
No, it said. It said.
It's Croatoan.
It said crochet. They're fans of the arts. Uh, fuck.
What's going on over there?
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
man. All right, so the inscription Croatoan, which, if you remember, was the tribe of Manteo, right? And they were an ally, right, of these people. So this was found on the outside of the defensive barriers that were not there when White had left, right? So they had since put up these barriers after he left, and they're there, and they say Croatoan. Great, fantastic. Inside of the colony, nothing. There was nothing there. Plants had grown over everything, and the structures had been, in quotes, taken down, because that came from a letter from him. And all of the valuables had been stripped from the inside. All that remained of the colony were some iron bars, some cannons, and bare structures. And there was no sign of the nearly 115 colonists, nor of their boats.
Oh.
Lots of people gone, including boats. Leads you to believe maybe they sailed away. I don't know. Apparently,
Yeah, it's like that Styx song. You know, they just heard that for the
come
first
sail
time.
away.
And they were
But
like,
it's with me. You got to be there.
they were like, you know what? This guy, Dennis DeYoung, he's making some good points here. He's making some real good points. I'm thinking to take him up on his offer.
Yeah. All
They
the guys in
time-traveled.
sticks, their faces don't look at all like the sides of trees. Not at
yeah,
all.
no.
Not at all. But so apparently, the inscription that we talked about earlier, you might be right here. Let's see. The inscription found on the tree and defensive wall were part of a plan that White and the colonists had supposedly drawn up before he left, right? In the case that the colonists needed to evacuate the colony, they were to leave a note of some sort indicating where they had gone off to. Okay? So this is a good plan, I'd say.
They hit the ATM at the strip club.
Yeah, exactly.
And they couldn't come back for the boats because
the surcharge was too much, and they couldn't afford boat maintenance. Surcharge of like $9.
What are you going to get, a lap dance or a boat? Like, it's fucking obvious.
You can only get one.
You can only choose one.
You can only have one of those two.
It will affect the trajectory of your life for the next 30 years, so pick wisely.
Yeah. So, in addition to this, a cross was to be added if burp. It's good to be back. If a cross was to be paired with the inscription, if they were forced out by a threatening force, right? But if not, it was just like, we decided to leave. So, given that there was no cross paired with the inscription left behind, White was confident that the people were safely on the island of Croatoan, where the tribe was.
Yeah, so they say. I don't believe that's what that etching was.
Which one did you do?
Crab Rangoon Outdoors. It's the new restaurant.
I like that one. All right. Okay. So, upon realizing, that they're on Croatoan, and it wasn't like a lethal thing. There was no cross. He was like, "Oh my God, I got to go over there." So he quickly. This is John White, right? So he quickly went back to the ship and convinced the captain to sail to the nearby island. But as they were lifting the anchor, the line snapped.
Oh.
And that's never good. It's like the brake line breaking or something, right?
God, yeah, you're just like there, like, well,
It's like, I don't have a way to stop this ship.
You really can't stop until the boat crashes or water stops moving. So you're gonna.
Which one of those things do you think is gonna happen first?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. You'd have to find out.
I guess so. So the captain thought it was too dangerous to continue in the treacherous waters, given the circumstance, and the ship sailed back to England. So they went all the way over there. They're like, "Oh my God, I know where they are. I have to go see them." They're like, "No, we have to go all the way across the ocean again because we don't have an anchor." And I guess we're just going to deal with that fact when we're back in England.
Okay.
So they leave the true fate of the colonists undiscovered. So, all right, 20 years later. This is there's just so many time gaps. They just don't go back.
Oh, yeah.
So, 20 years later, as Jamestown was being constructed by Governor John Smith, he was told by Chief Powhatan, maybe Powhatan?
Peloton, the new workout thing?
No, there's no L, but he was probably in great shape.
Okay.
Okay, so Chief Powhatan Powhatan. I'm going to go with that. So John Smith was told by Chief Powhatan of a place where men were wearing European clothing.
Of a place.
There is a place in the world
like,
where they wear European clothing.
That's insane.
You're blowing my mind, Powhatan.
You're being crazy.
Oh, God. So on a later map that John Smith drew up of the territory, he marked his location. He marked this location that, Powhatan had told him about with the annotation, "Here remaineth 4 men clothed that came from Runuk to Oshakahan." There was so many, spelling errors. I think they just kind of made, just wrote it down how it might sound. I don't know. Remaineth is REMAYNEWTH.
Yeah, that
Remaineth.
They did not have Microsoft spell check at that point. He might have done well with an English course, but I
feel like it was still in development.
Historically, at this point, it didn't really matter.
Oh yeah, this is no slight against him. I'm just like, wow.
It's
just one of those. So anyway, he marked the place where Powhatan told him that these people wearing English clothing were with this great annotation on the map, right? So, however, this lead was never followed up, and there was no further information about this particular claim. So that just kind of died in the water, right there. A full century later, so we're just skipping around. A full century later, in 1701, English explorer John Lawson made contact with the Hatteras tribe.
It's Pederast, Walter. It's Pederast.
God, that's the first thing I thought of. But
Pederast, Walter.
Hatteras, I believe. Hatteras tribe. The tribe inhabited the same islands as the Croatoans. Right? So isn't that interesting? That's where they said it went. That's where they said all the colonists went. Maybe there's a lead here. But the island was entirely... It entirely was discovered and was now known as Hatteras. So I guess it was just taken over by a different tribe by the time. This happened in 1701. These people claimed to have had ancestors with white skin, and they were able to read. This is a very large clue, I'd say. They also claimed that their ancestors had gray eyes, and this was due to the ghost ships of Walter Raleigh. So this guy who first came here and was fucking shit up in Roanoke, he was just there. They have ghost stories about this guy. He is a folklore man.
He is a legend.
He's the subject of stories.
Hey man, that's kind of how these stories go.
Sometimes you're the subject. Exactly. So, they were just they have gray eyes. It was because of the ghost shifts of Walter Raleigh. Lawson was then convinced that the colonists coexisted with the Hatteras until their inevitable deaths. Right? So nothing new was uncovered regarding the disappearance for hundreds of years after this. And in the late 1930s, this is when something else comes up. Okay. So, when a series of stones were discovered, right? These stones had what appeared to be messages from none other than John White's daughter, Eleanor Dere. D-E-R-E. Dere. I'm going to say that. Eleanor Dere. Unfortunately, most of these stones were proven to be a hoax. All but one, actually. This particular stone was... It was ideal for carving messages, basically, and the carvings themselves appeared to be worn with the proper age, as opposed to the hoax stones sporting, obviously new markings. So it looked right. Carbon dating, they didn't have that, I don't think, but if you did it on it, it might be legitimate. The stone it detailed Eleanor's tragic experience of watching her husband and daughter die in the midst of an attack by the native tribe of Roanoke.
Ooh.
Just a stone with a harrowing story. So though again, none of the evidence was without speculation, but and even later excavations of this area did little to tell what the colonist story outside of what was already speculated,
Mm-hmm.
That is until 2011.
Uh-oh.
We're right up to the present, dude.
Double phallic numbers. You know it's a good year.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Is that so? All right, so in 2011, maps of the area.
Maps.
Maps. We're
existed.
going to get into maps.
You like the study of cartography. What does the blue mean
Oh,
on
you don't
the
have a
map?
cartograph?
I believe the blue is land, and the other things are
The
water.
brown and green represent, sand and algae in the water.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So in 2011, maps of the area from the 16th and 17th centuries were being examined. Okay? So when one researcher noticed and decided to look into the patches that were pasted over certain areas of the map drawn by John White himself. Okay? So these patches were put on there. These patches were often used in old-timing map making to, make minor corrections, and were often blown off and, looked past by researchers, So they're just like, it was just a correction. However, there was a patch over a little bit of land near Roanoke. Isn't that interesting?
Ooh.
So, it was carefully examined, like you do. Okay? What was found underneath was a 4-pointed star. And what do you think this means? It's a typical representation of a fort. Classic fort symbol.
Ooh.
Fort symbology. Do you know anything of fort symbology, Grant?
I remember in 8th grade, I had to do that popsicle stick fort project. That's all I really know about forts.
Okay, all right.
And one's made. We used to push the couch out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'd open the window and put the blanket in the window. So then you close it and it stays and it makes a little roof. And that was a fort,
No, yeah, you got way more involved in it than I ever did. I would
Yeah.
usually just prop up a blanket with chairs.
No, this is my knowledge of a fort. The
Wow.
only image I have of a fort is sitting in said couch fort, eating Peeps as a child. I remember that vividly.
The greatest candy.
That's my knowledge of forts.
Okay, all right. Well, and 4-pointed stars
Okay.
right here. The ink, it was underneath this thing, right? So the ink of the star matches the ink of the rest of the map, including the corrective patches, leading researchers to believe that this fort was drawn and concealed by White himself. Okay. So even stranger, a small star surrounding the two squares, surrounded by two squares, with an X through them, was drawn over the location as well. In invisible ink. They had that back then, I guess. Invisible ink. Isn't that some sort of lemon juice trick?
It's like lemon juice and urine or something.
Ooh, yeah, pee. So, invisible ink was present. Isn't that crazy? This mainland location that was covered up 50 miles from Roanoke became known as Site X and was excavated as well.
This is like a real-life national treasure.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're just looking for shit. And, what's funny is these are the last 5 words of this story. But to still no avail. So we have no fucking idea what happened to this whole tragic thing going on, maybe. Or maybe they lived happily ever after with native people. Who knows? I don't know what happened to these people, but I don't think anyone's ever going to find out for sure.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of... That's the interesting thing about these disappearing... I don't even know. I'm going to call them vanishing villages for the purposes of us.
Yes, alliteration.
It makes more sense because I don't really know how to say, a disappearing town. That doesn't sound as interesting.
A ghost town.
A vanishing village. There's so many factors that can affect why people live in a certain area. I mean...
Some people just like being by the water.
Exactly. So you never know. And that, I have another story. Actually, I'll just go right into this because then we can compare the two separations. This one.
But first,
go on.
Sorry, wouldn't you guys have been pissed if that was our Halloween story? Would
maybe.
you have been pissed? Because I would have been pissed.
I mean, I'd have been okay with it, but I mean, for me, I'm all about Halloween like all the time, so I don't care. But
No, that is true. Me too, as well. But
it worked out for us a lot better that we did it this way.
You know what? We have it. It's talked about right now. You're listening to it. You right there. Yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at you.
Hey.
We're going to travel.
Look behind you. Sorry.
Slightly north, and we're going to go to Michigan. Okay, we're going to Michigan.
Yeah.
I guess that's slightly west, possibly northwest.
This is northwest of where we just were. It's exactly north from where we are now.
Yeah, we're going to Michigan.
Mitten.
In 1874, a man named George Cheney, spelled the same way as Dick Cheney, as a matter of fact. No relation, as far as I'm aware.
He shot his friend.
George Cheney, in 1874, he established what would be a stop on the railroad in between the Michigan Central Railroad stops of Gaylord and Jackson. So these two larger towns in Michigan at the time, he was building a spot in the middle of them that would act as a train stop / little town, perhaps, maybe.
Just a rest stop of a town.
After 3 years, the town fucking boomed. It exploded. They had 2 sawmills, a hotel, doctor's offices, a post office. They had everything.
Oh, I thought it was like a lethal explosion. Okay.
No, they were huge. They were at their peak, roughly around 1,500 citizens. Some numbers say 1,800, some say 13. We're going to go with 15 for that nice middle ground.
Right. Damn in the middle.
So, by no means a large town, but by the year of 1917, that population was down to 18. And
18 people?
18 people.
What happened?
And
you can't just say.
well, I know. I don't want to spoil the surprise
Okay,
yet,
all right,
you know.
go ahead, yeah. 18.
So I'll tell you the facts first. In 1893, they had an outbreak of diphtheria.
That's not good.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know what diphtheria is, it's a bacterial infection, and it is often identified by thick, slimy membrane that sticks and covers your throat. So it's essentially a really bad cough with deep mucus, gross. It's not good.
It's probably satisfying to cough that up sometimes, though.
Probably. Nowadays, it's no issue. I mean, we have vaccines for it. It's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, you just drink some clean water and banana, you're probably fine.
But at this time, there were no vaccines. So in 1893, it really kind of caused some issues. It was like, oh, this is not good. People are dying. Oh, no, what's going to happen?
Just like now.
1893. It is estimated that they lost about half of their population. They were roughly down to about 700 to 800 people. There was still a town. Everything was functioning. It was, sadly, a lot of children died because they had no medicine and they were immuno-weak, or their immune systems were not strong enough to withstand the diphtheria.
Yeah.
And just as they thought they were getting out, they were going to pull through Parachaney. I'm sorry, I guess I never said that. The town is called Parachaney.
Parachaney?
P-E-R-E space Cheney. Parachaney.
Parashany?
Yeah, sorry, I should have said that at the beginning.
No, it's totally fine.
So in 1897, 4 years after the diphtheria outbreak, it comes back. And this time it wipes everybody out. By the end of 1899, there were only 25 people living in the town.
Jesus.
Now,
is that enough to even run like the train station that is the whole reason they're there?
Kind of no, because in 1917 is officially when they shut down. That was when they were at their low point of 18 surviving residents.
Yeah,
that is when all of the businesses were officially closed. The train station was stopped, and the nail in the coffin for them was the post office left.
No,
I mean, back in the day, that was how you knew you were a town.
Yeah, basically.
So.
Yeah. How good was the looting for those 18 people, though?
Yeah,
honestly. That's pretty cool.
So, what happened here? History would tell us, realistically, this was in the 1800s. They were a train stop. People come and go off the train, and One of them, or multiple people, brought in a disease that the town just could not fend off, and it ended up killing everyone. That is what most historians would say happened.
That's what they want you to believe.
Now, however, this gets a little bit more spooky, because in the year 1891, I want this to be known, there are no official records of this happening. You have to keep into account, even though I call this a town, it was a very small town.
It was like a road with a couple buildings.
Yeah. So what happened here is the legend goes that there was a woman who had a child out of wedlock in Parachaney. She was a young woman, member of the town, and the town did not like it. I mean, it was the 1890s. They were not happy about this floozy walking around with a baby, and she wasn't married.
Give her a scarlet letter.
So the story goes that they exiled her from the town. I don't know. And the story
I
goes...
didn't know they had exiling in America.
The story goes that this woman was banished from the town, and on her way to one of the neighboring towns, her child died in the wilderness on the walk there. And this led people to believe that she became some type of vengeful woman and placed a curse upon the city or town of Parachaney.
Now she's a witch?
That is what is believed.
Oh, man.
And the reason it's believed is because whatever you believe, fast forward to now, it is a ghost town. Some of the buildings and structures are still there. The only thing that is actually pretty much visible to human eyes is the cemetery. The Parachaney Cemetery is still operational.
Nice.
No one has been buried there in over 100 years. However, it has become a huge, destination for ghost hunters, things of that nature, because, it's a disappearing town.
Do you know if, the cemetery is still, kempt?
No.
No?
Oh, no.
All right, well, that makes it scarier.
It is only accessible with... at least according to what I was reading, I could not find any pictures of it that were more recent. 21st century recent.
Yeah.
There's some pictures from the 80s, but that's about it.
It's probably just a field now where you're going to stub your toe in the tall grass.
It is said that the only way to get to the cemetery is it's about a mile off of the main road through thick woods and brush. And it's recommended that you have an ATV to get there because walking
your kid's
is impossible.
going to die and you're going to have to do another curse.
And the reason that the witch is to be believed by some people in the surrounding towns is because there is an abundance of ghostly apparitions, voices, stories, legends, and orbs that surround the town of Parachaney even to this day.
Fucking jeez.
Parachaney was rated the number 2 most haunted town in the Midwest in 2010.
What? What's the first?
Honestly, I don't know, but
either way, that's
did
a
make
high.
it to number 1.
That's high price.
But it made a name for itself in the ghost hunting community, I should say.
Damn.
For it being so secluded, it's really everything you want. It's an abandoned ghost town that you can't get to in a car, and
everyone that lived there got sick and died.
Pretty much.
And there's lore behind it with dead kids and witches and curses and fucking cemeteries. It's everything you're looking for.
I found on Reddit, the only reason I bring this up is I feel it's credible, because I've actually read it in a couple news articles as well.
I like the transparency here. You're just I got it from Reddit, but let's hear it out.
No, I did. There was a thread about a group of amateur ghost hunters that went to the Parachaney Cemetery in 2009, and they were actually chased off of the land by a masked man with a shotgun.
Holy shit.
No one technically owns the land as far as Michigan is concerned because it's just state property. So that really kind of raised some eyebrows as to why there was a masked individual shooting at people in the cemetery. But it was reported by newspapers in Detroit and Kenosha, Wisconsin, believe it or not. I don't know why that one, but maybe they felt the closeness resembled them.
They were just like, hey, This will be something for the paper.
But yeah, there were stories of people hearing gunshots and people talking to the news actually about being chased off of the cemetery with a shotgun.
Dude. First vision I have is just the Zodiac when he's wearing that fucking bag on his head.
Yeah, a little bit.
And like he always has a different gun. Maybe he switched to shotguns in his later dates.
You never know. Maybe
who knows? He's always changing his story.
I mean, it's funny because it's one of those stories that I feel like you really need to go to Michigan, to a surrounding town, to actually learn about this.
Do you want to do that one weekend?
I would not mind.
Just like get a motel or something, but like just go to diners and like, hey, have you heard something about this?
Yeah, because it's
this
weird
place.
when you really try to look it up. I mean, you'll get the generic story, but they don't go into anything too specific because there's really no records or anything like this. But
we just have to find the right waitress or loner who walks through the towns.
You got to hear it word of mouth, like from the legend. But it's an interesting story nonetheless, and I feel that it can be relative to Roanoke because, I mean,
it's like we pretty much kind of know what happened, but there is some weird shit about it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, they were there. We don't really know where they went, but there's some heavy indications that people might be somewhere else, and then there's this map that might just be a correction, but also maybe he's hiding something. Who knows? We haven't gone there and excavated. And then we got this place. It's like, yeah, well, everyone's dead, but now there's like ghosts, and now there's this story about a dead kid and his vengeful mom.
Yeah,
and like it's weird.
It is.
You know what happened, but you really have no idea.
It's weird because to me, I feel that they can almost be answered in the same way, Roanoke and Parachaney, where it's like maybe it truly is as simple as outside people come into the area and bring some type of disease that maybe doesn't kill people but debilitates them or makes them ill enough to the point where people that didn't get sick leave because of the illness, and the people that get sick eventually die from it. And but like I said, the round trip from England to Roanoke, it's going to take a good amount of time. You could pack up. I
would say probably at very least a month. Back then.
Yeah.
But I would imagine like 3. Maybe.
You could straight up pack and leave your stuff and be gone for 6 weeks before they get back. So it could be as simple as that. Or who knows? Maybe both of these places share some type of cursed land. Maybe the land has something to say about it. I don't know.
Maybe it's just 2 stories of people being somewhere they shouldn't have been.
That is for the listeners to decide.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe give us some insights on what you think at startacult@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Do it. Email us.
But yeah, these are the Vanishing Villages. I like that. I very much like these.
Oh, yeah.
I like things that disappear because it's very strange. And
you don't got to deal with them anymore.
They're gone, they're interesting because it's nothing but, it could have been.
It's just a sense of wonder that they inspire now.
It's like, what could have been? Who knows? But it's weird. I don't know. It's weird that these things happen, but again, I mean, I think realistically, if you look at this from a standpoint, I don't know, I could put it in a 2020 perspective with the knowledge we have of today.
Like the adage or the year?
The year.
Oh.
It's very easy to see why these places could be abandoned because in the case of Roanoke, it's a thing of, well, they had land and then new people come in and maybe out of either fear or mistrust for these newcomers, it was easier to leave and just start something new where they didn't know where you were. Or, it could be more sinister. It could be something along the lines of perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's a Bigfoot or something killing people.
Maybe there's a Bigfoot killing people. I don't know. I really don't. But it's like if the studio, if the studio was Roanoke and I was a Native American, you getting sick this past 2 weeks, that would be you being Europe coming in just like, hey, let's take all your resources, let's get sick, and I'm like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to my house.
Pretty much.
Which is just a neighboring island of Croatoan.
It's kind of the way I see it. It's like if I was in Roanoke when the White Devil shows up, I'd be getting the fuck out of there as soon as they left.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's just me, but I mean, again, that's 2020 knowledge. It's like, I know what these motherfuckers are capable of doing and what they will do, so I'm going to get out of here before they can do that.
Lots of stuff going on.
I mean, yeah, who knows? I mean,
who friggin' knows?
Especially now, it's funny that you really, I don't know, before this, you never really put these things into proper perspective about disease. But disease is a real killer. Like, no joke.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we're living through the pandemic right now, and I mean, I know there's people out there that don't believe it and stuff, and it's like, hey, you believe what you want, but at the end of the day, it is a virus that has and will kill people. So it's like, if we're living now with the medicine we have, can you imagine something like this happening fucking 400 years ago? They were immediately dead. Before they even figured out what caused it, they were dead.
They didn't even know what germs were, dude. They had their hands all over these people, these very sick people's like faces when they died. They're like kissing them, fucking cleaning out their noses with their fingers and eating it. They're just gonna be dead.
Yeah,
they don't know anything about germs.
It makes sense when you really look at it and think about it. It's like, oh, I definitely see how smallpox killed a lot of people.
Yes.
Because, yeah, it's fucking doing that shit now, and we have, like, smartphones.
Yeah. Yeah. The only kind of pox you want are chicken.
Even then, I guess. Is
chicken pox, like, lethal? Like, is that, like, a thing? Do people...
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah, but, I
think shingles can be.
Oh, of course.
But I actually, I've heard of people that, like, have gotten shingles and then gotten over it and gotten it again. So...
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that... I don't know. I feel like chicken pox is okay because they used to throw, like, the pox parties and shit where it was like, come infect your kids and get them out of the way so they don't get shingles.
Yeah, give them a 1-week vacation where they just itch a bit and fucking, yeah.
I never had chicken pox.
What?
No, I didn't.
Dude, that's crazy. I had it when I was like 4, I think.
I'm going to have shingles one day. Just watch.
That's fucked. Get the shot.
I think I did.
You did? Nice. I was going to say wait till you're 60 so it's free, but...
I think maybe I didn't. I had to get, like, vaccinated when I turned 18 and then again when I went to college. Because that was a weird year. They made me, like, get vaccines for high school. And I was like, cool. And then the next year I was like going to college. You're like, you have to update these. Like, I just fucking did them.
Is it good to keep putting these things in there so often?
I just fucking did them. They're like, you did hepatitis A, B, and C. You need to do D, E, and F. It's like, I didn't know that existed.
There are 23 other letters in the alphabet, Grant.
But,
all of them are hepatitis.
But yeah, it's definitely something that I think could have played a factor in both of these things.
Hey, man, of course.
Potential disease or things of that nature that, will kill people.
Just a lot of mystery around it, but really it's all pretty clear.
It is. It's clear like cellophane wrap. Speaking of it,
yeah.
that is a wrap on the episode.
Damn, that was... See, I need to get good with the segues.
It just happened.
That was beautiful.
Really
that was masterful.
Came. But yeah, we are starting a cult. This is the disappearing, fucking, I don't know. You call it whatever you want. I don't know what to call it.
I don't know.
Shit.
We'll figure it out. We're gonna stop this. And
mass
name
evictions
it,
or something. I don't know.
Evictions.
I don't know what this is. It's some weird shit that I'm unaware of. But yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back entirely.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is episode 90.
Is it?
If I'm correct, I think.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I do this every fucking week. I'm like, what episode is this? I should just write it down, but I don't.
I just go on my phone and check it out, and then we do it.
But yeah, so we are slowly, even if this is not 90, which I'm pretty sure it is.
Might be 90.
We are slowly creeping up to the 100th episode. That will take place in 2021.
Yeah, the triple digits.
If my math is correct, somewhere around the end of February, potentially the beginning of March, will be the 100th episode.
Oh, good lord.
So stay tuned for that. There'll be some cool stuff where we got some cool ideas and we got some time to get them done. So
it's true.
We definitely are planning something cool for that. But in the meantime, we're going to have 9 more episodes in the middle that will just fill your heart with joy and wonder and confusion. And that's what
Yeah.
you want from us.
That is if you like what we talk about and us as people.
Oh, yeah, man.
Just from what you maybe gain from hearing our voices right now.
Why don't you like me? Nobody
What's
likes
wrong?
me.
Hey, what's your problem, kid?
Why don't you
What's
like me?
Hey,
I'm a nice person, okay? I just yell because I'm passionate.
get fucked, bud.
But, yeah, so we will be back on Friday with a new episode.
And on Tuesday with a Patreon.
You're darn
Boy.
tootin' right if you're on there.
And we're just going to pick up right where we left off. I'm going to do my top 5.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what that means, maybe become a patron.
Yeah, maybe you should fucking tune in.
If you want to, that is. All right, we are starting a cult. Jake, that's Grant. Love you. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Peace out, y'all.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.